So excellent day everyone, and welcome to part 5 in the series of Can You Be Happy All the Time? I've had a really great time over the last 5 weeks, really just fleshing out and discussing these different aspects of the 5 basic principles of happiness as described by Dr. Richard Carlson. The feedback has been wonderful. Different people have had different insights, different points of views, different comments, and I've really been appreciating it all and had some great dialogue with some of my friends. As I've launched off this other aspect of what is now a part of my calling, teaching here, some of the individuals I went to school with, high school, some people I went to university with, have reconnected with me through Facebook and and so forth, and reaching back out, and I'm really happy about you guys chiming in and all of us really rising and expressing more of the divinity that's within us, and so that we can actually come together and really make this world a better place. I'm really grateful for you guys chiming in, so thank you. Keep on. The next series we'll go into some other areas, and I commit to doing one of these per week, so we'll always have at least a weekly teaching and a conversation surrounding cultivating and developing an inner sense of peace and joy, and then thereby changing the world that's on the outside. We went through 5 topics. We went through first understanding the basis of thought and realizing that, thoughts are just thoughts. We shouldn't take them seriously, in terms of what comes from the human memory and the collective thoughts that come from humanity, not to take them seriously and open up ourselves more to divine thoughts, to that original thought from the divine realm of thinking, so that more of that can come through us and seek to change and make the world a better place. And then we spoke about moods, how moods affect thinking. When we're in a low mood, negative thoughts tend to occupy that space. When you're in a higher mood, thoughts are higher, better quality thoughts, and the same circumstance that we were looking at looks different from a high mood versus a low mood without changing the circumstance. And then we spoke about different realities, human beings having different realities based on their background, based on their thought patterns, based on their mental habits. Having different experiences and cultures leading to different ways of seeing the same situation. So we should be compassionate to others because they're not seeing the same thing that we're seeing. And in that way, it's easy to love them where they are, regardless. And then the 4th thing that we spoke about last week was fleshing out the difference between feelings and emotions. Understanding emotions come from our previous experiences, and it's basically built up over time, whereas feelings are natural. They are the foundation of what we are. So we fleshed that out, and then today we're going to go into the topic of the now, the now moment, or the now. There's this great book by a gentleman called Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. For those of us who have never read it, it's an excellent book for you to go and flesh out. It was tremendous for me. The transformation I've received through studying that book. I read it, I think, 2 times, and a couple of his other books, I've studied them. Great work. So understanding the now is very important to knowing, how to protect our happiness, so to speak. It doesn't need protection, but we need to avoid going in the direction that moves us away from happiness, moves us away from our inner state of contentment and being okay. So the issue that we ran into, when we were coming up, so to speak, as human beings, we ran into thinking that we could find happiness and peace outside. If you look back, you probably heard some people say, I need to be at peace, right? Maybe you said it, maybe I'm sure I did it at some point. So you want to be at peace, I need to go somewhere else, right? So you think, to be at peace, I need to leave where I am and go somewhere where it's peaceful. I used to think that way. So you'd be at, in a noisy environment. You say, okay, I can't be at peace because the environment is noisy. So you believe that you need to go somewhere where there's no noise and then you'll be at peace. Or, there's fighting happening here. I can't be at peace. Then I need to change my environment. But if you look at someone like Nelson Mandela, all right, Nelson Mandela spent several years in jail. And, who can be at peace when he's in jail, locked up for really doing nothing, all right? And then coming out, when he came out of jail, the gentleman was at so much peace, right, that he didn't have any sense of retaliation. Everybody was expecting now, okay, for everything that was done to him because of apartheid, there would be this uprising, and there would be retaliation to all these people that did harm, and none of that happened. He came out and he unified. Right, so we have many examples of that over time. Gandhi, and the British government, and how sitting down and connecting with that sense of inner peace and not doing anything brought down an empire. So if you understand the power of peace, peace is not static, it's really dynamic. And it's coming from within. And when we disconnect from trying to find it outside, and start to look for it where it really is, which is within our own being, then we'll find it. Now the other thing too is the same principle that relates to our happiness. Our happiness is not based on receiving something. It's not based on pushing something away that you don't like. Right? Those things are putting the happiness outside, and if you keep trying to strive for it, to find it over here, to find it over there, happiness because my bank account is high. Sadness because the bank account is low, right? Happiness because your relationship is working, right? You're unhappy because the relationship is not working. You're happy because you're fit and your body's looking good, and then you ate too much cake and you have a big tummy and then you're not feeling happy anymore. So if we do happiness based on either a physical state, a set of circumstances, meaning money or certain things in the physical environment, or happiness based on relationships with others, then what we have done is disconnect from the source of our happiness. We have put them onto people, places, circumstances, or things. And if we do that, we are now up and down. We're meaning that one day you're happy, next day you're sad, this moment you're okay, next day you're not, because you're projected externally being okay. So understanding then now, what's now? That word is really a very powerful word actually. What we have done as human beings is to break up the now, all right? We've broken up an eternal now into time, right? And time, if we look at time, we look at time maybe through three ways generally, right? Time, we often look at time as past, right? So there's a past tense, meaning that what was happening, and there's a future tense, and then there's a present tense. So we tend to be, instead of, some people say human beings are 2 tenths. Well, human beings are 3 tenths. Right? There's past tense, present tense, and future tense. And what we've done is disconnected ourselves from the now and look at life through the past, through the future, and present. And what we have done essentially is that most people tend to hang out either in memory, meaning, just check yourself. You check yourself, the way your mind operates, and you'll probably recognize that you tend to think about the good old days, when things used to be a certain way, and, when this was that, and, when I used to be able to have this and that, and remember those good old days in high school, if you pass through that, remember when we just got married, or, when you met your first girlfriend or boyfriend, and so we tend to hang out in that past, or some people hang out with it with shame, man, I regret this, I regret that, I wish I hadn't done this, and that sort of thing, or pride, oh man, that was when I had my business, I was this, I used to play football, you should have seen me, so we're in the past. And some people hang out in the future, so they're always looking at, oh man, wow, what if this doesn't work out? What if I don't get the job? What if I don't get the contract? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? So in the future, worrying about what could go wrong, or some people look at the future as goals. I can't wait until I get the house. I can't wait until I get the car. When I finally have the car and the house, that's when I'm going to be happy. When I have this girlfriend or boyfriend, or man, I can't wait to get married. After I get married, man, it's going to be bliss forever. Anybody been married for longer than 2 weeks? Yeah? You wonder what happened, right? So what we're doing now is that we're projecting into the future some state that we want to get to be okay. Right? We're looking at the past, and we're either looking at it through the lens of regret or pride. And what we do with the present oftentimes is going to this idea of fantasy. Right? We're vanity. You're looking at yourself, and like right now I'm checking myself out. How do I look? Do I look okay? Right? You're concerned with what other people think about how you look. Or whether you look good, or maybe wonder if I'm okay. So we're lost in thought, right? We're either lost in thought about the future, the past, or fantasizing about the present, either vanity or embarrassment. And what we have done is ignored what's called now. Now is outside of time. All right? What do I mean by that? If you look at, let's say last night, right? You go back to last night, or whatever time it was, but yesterday. Go back to yesterday. And when you're doing something, whether you're washing the dishes or you're preparing food for your family or you're doing some work at your office, whatever that was, during that moment, it was N-O-W, now, right? N-O-W, so it was right now. And then, as you are here watching me currently, you can only watch me now. Now, when, later on, 6, 7, 8 hours, when you're engaged doing something else, it's still now. So that moment that's called now is the only part of time that's eternal. You see, the past, the future, and the present happen simultaneously. They don't happen separately. They seem that way only in our imagination. Because the past is already done. You can't go get it. You can only have it in an imagination. The future hasn't happened yet. You can only imagine that as well. The only thing we have right now is now. But what we have done over time with our mind is that we have either become very past-oriented, future-oriented, or fantasy-oriented and ignored the present moment. And the present moment is where your peace and your joy lives. It is present, it is here, and it is now. So over time, you can practice to not run away all the time into the future, to not run away all the time into the past, to not hang out in fantasy, but to start to invest more of your time to be present, to be connected with the sense of who and what we really are. And when we're connected in that deeper sense of who and what we are, the peace and the joy, the abundance, and guess what too? Great ideas that are already circulating around us, we start to have access to them. Those ideas start to become available to us, and then we can go on and to do greater things. When I look back at my own journey, when I look back years ago, I was not supposed to be standing here in front of a camera talking about any of this stuff, right? I went to school, I became a medical doctor, so I was supposed to be doing patients. I gave that up to do automobiles. Some people who know me from the Jamaica days know that I used to do that. And today, I'm moving into teaching, opening up a dimension of my life that I never thought I would have actually engaged in. And this is something that started maybe 8 years ago, and sitting down, learning spiritual practices, doing something called life visioning. And in the process of life visioning, so what is your idea? The Creator created me. What is your idea as your life, as me? How is it that this life should be expressed? What gifts, what talents that are there? And I realized that teaching, was one of my talents. And teaching was something I was supposed to be doing. And I get so much joy from this. In fact, I'm teaching this information for free. I'm not trying to get money for this. All right, I'm getting money from my business. Doing that is doing well, and it's going to continue to do that, and I'll do that. But I get joy from this. Maybe at some point in the future, it may evolve into something that's connected to some revenue. But right now, it's a joy for me to share this with you. And I also know the importance of sharing it with you. Why? The importance of sharing this with you is that as you come into an awareness of your peace and your joy, it removes conflict from within your mind. If there's no conflict in your mind, it removes conflict from the world. When we look at this idea of stress, because a lot of people say the environment is stressful, or the job is stressful, or the relationship is stressful, or money matters is stressful. The truth is that none of those things are stressful, right? They are situations and they're neutral. Now, how you relate to them is what determines whether you experience stress or not. So the stress is not the situation, it's our thoughts about the situation that causes the stress. Because thoughts, linked to each thought, is an emotion. And that emotion will arise based on how you are thinking about the situation, not the situation itself. So if you understand that, you'll realize which society has accepted stress, which really, when you look at how the psychologists define stress today, they say it's a socially acceptable form of mental illness. That's what they're saying, right? I agree. Well, I'm not saying that, but I agree. It is. Because it is us that's doing it to ourselves, not the situation. That's why two people can be in the same situation. One is stressed out and one is okay. Because it's not the situation that determines the stress. It's a relationship to the situation that determines whether you induce stress into the body. Toxins are released, things break down, and if you keep hanging out in stress long enough, you will end up with dis-ease. Meaning that now you are not at ease. So because you're not at ease mentally, you're wrestling with a situation, you're wrestling with a circumstance, you're wrestling mentally with a relationship. It creates dis-ease within your spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical body. And then disease, what we call disease, manifests. Cancer, or, arthritis, or something shows up to give you feedback to tell you that you are off within. You are off kilter. You're not at balance within. So what we're seeking to do over time, my friends, is to come back to that original state, to, in a sense, evolve back to the way we really are. And I'm doing my part in helping us. I'm going to continue to teach all these different dynamics and areas. There's a lot more that we need to cover to really uncover, discover, and really bring back to our memory the truth of who and what we really are. And within us, there's a divine template. There's a divine being already there, created in the image and likeness of our Creator. Whatever name you want to use, I'm cool with that. I'm not here to tell you that name. That's for you within your own scope of what you do to relate to your Creator that way. What I do know that all of us have come from a source, right? And that source, an original source, created us in its image and its likeness. And within us now are some qualities that we can express. And by expressing those qualities that are divine, we can change this world and improve it and have a world that works for the highest and best in each and every one of us. It's happening already. Right? The old is dying and the new is coming forth. And I'm helping. I'm a part of the midwifing of the new and helping to hospice the old. So while the old is dying, we'll take care of it in a hospice situation. The midwife, we're going to give birth to this new vision. And I'm grateful and thankful, man. So next week, we're going to go into a new series, and I'm excited about that new series. It's about victory, and talking about how to be victorious, in all areas and dynamics of our life. It's going to be an interesting series that we'll flesh out, and I'm very excited about that because it will help us to unleash our destiny. So with that said, my friends, man, it was a privilege for me to have shared this with you. And I pray that it was very clear and information presented in this five series topic, or five episodes, was very valuable to you and everyone that you share it with. So if you enjoy this, please go ahead and share it, man. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you at the top. The top for me means the omnipotent palace. All right, the top, the omnipotent palace. All right, hopefully my broadcast will put it there for you. The omnipotent palace, man. I'll see you at the top, man. You deserve to be there. Bye for now. God bless each and every one of you. For those of us who enjoyed this video, or even if you didn't fully enjoy it, but leave your comments, all right? Please share it with friends, family, individuals that you'd like to actually learn about what we're talking about. And please subscribe to this channel as well. Our goal is to really help more of us as human beings on this planet rise and shine and reveal more of our inner peace, joy, and reveal more abundance. All right. So thank you for your comments. I'm looking forward to reading them. I'll seek to respond to them. I'm having a great time. I hope that you are. God bless you all.